What's going on, guys? T2RX6 here, back for another Transformers review, and today we are going to take a look at Airachnid. And I'm sure you guys have seen some reviews of her already, and that she has her flaws. So hopefully, at the end of this video, I actually want to see if I can fix Airachnid in a manner that I will find aesthetically pleasing, because I echo most of everybody's arguments about her. Her helicopter mode is pretty nice. This is probably the best part about her. It is small though, and when you get it in hand you're gonna feel it's very small. Now here's another deluxe sized helicopter, and the length is okay. It's the width that there's just a huge difference on mass, and I don't know why my Spinister doesn't like to sit forward. I can't remember if my oh man, I can't remember the Autobot version. Whatever his name was as an Autobot, I can't remember if he tipped backwards too. But as you can see, just how much more bulk he has than her. But it's okay, because it is a her, so that's okay. The other thing is, she comes with these two weapons here, and you can attach them to the side of the helicopter. Now you can attach them so they're up and down like this, if you want that type of look, or if you really want to give her more bulk, you can put them on the sides like this, and that's kind of how I like to do it, because it does really bulk out the helicopter quite a bit. If you bring back this guy, they start becoming closer to the same size in terms of how much they fan out. Now, one thing of note on these weapons here is there's this little tab here that looks like it would like plug in somewhere, but I haven't been able to find where that would be. So if anyone knows some kind of storage or something that I'm missing, please let me know. I haven't seen it. So that's pretty much enough of the helicopter mode. The propellers do spin exceptionally well, which is not something Spinister can claim. Yeah, so let's get on to actually transforming her to her tragedy of a robot mode. And the instructions tell you to take off the propellers. You totally don't need to do that. You can just leave them on. What you're going to first start by doing is opening up this cockpit. And it's worth noting that the cockpit opens up and reveals a tiny little seat, which is pretty cool for the helicopter mode, but then when you actually get to the robot mode, you're gonna see the flaws. So open up that cockpit, take her nose cone and flip it on in and close it again. Now what you're gonna do is come to the back here and just lift these up. The instructions tell you to split them apart and kind of angle them out so they're like V-shaped, kind of like this. I don't really like how that looks. I prefer just to leave them together to give her like the back end of like a spider tends to have. Yeah. Then we can come to the feet and you can split them apart and take her foot, and it only rotates a little bit. Pop it into position so it's forward. Then we come up to her arms here and we just kind of pull them out, and then you have to kind of pull the shoulder on down here. Let me angle this up just a little bit more and get this light out of my eyes. It's blinding me. See how you angle that down? So when that's done, you're going to grab this whole back of the helicopter and you're going to push it straight up, which makes a big backpack here, and that reveals her head, which is extremely nice looking in my opinion. I rather enjoy how that head looks. Nice con symbol molded in on her chest too, so I'm gonna have to find some paint to really make that stand out. So let's go and pull this back, and then basically just finish her up here. What we have to do is take her propeller blade, her main one is on a swivel, and it will plug into the back of the canopy of the helicopter, and then you just kind of fold the top down. And then you just do whatever you really want with these back legs, or the other two propellers back there. Finally is the hands, which I find to be one of the weakest parts here, and all you do is rotate this hand around, and they say just like that. And the thing that bugs me about this, well, I'll get there in a second. So, there you go. She's complete here. And overall, she's got a nice feminine silhouette. It's okay. She's got this horrible backpack, which I don't like. Oh well, whatever. When you come to this hand, this joint assembly here that comes from the ball joint and down, then you come to the hand, it's always up, which seems unnatural to me, and that's one of the biggest complaints I have with the hand. So I actually mistransform it and kind of put the black piece of the helicopter mode on top of her hands, just so it's a straight line between her elbow and her wrist. And I think that goes a long way to actually improve how her hands look. You can actually then just kind of use the back one as her elbow, and it looks a little bit nicer. It's still a very, very weak part of this figure. I'm not even sure how good she's filming on this camera here, because black is so hard to film. So that's one of the big problems, but I think that makes it a little bit better. The hands are just way too long though. The fingers are huge and everything. I feel like they're man hands. They're not really feminine looking at all. So I want to see if I can change that out sometime. That's not happening in this video though. Her head articulation, well, let's get to her arms here. So you saw she has this elbow joint that's double jointed. The problem is with these ports on the side, it really constricts how she can move them, because you end up smacking into them. So it's a bit limited. Her head, which has so much personality, can pretty much only go from side to side because the stupid seat here is attached to the back of her head. It kills any of her head posability. The legs are on ball joints. Whoops. The legs are on ball joints here, and that would be nice if it wasn't for the back chunk of the helicopter being stuck on her back like that. It seems like if it moved up even just another millimeter or two, all your problems would be solved, but it just hits this back piece of the helicopter, and because of that, there's really nothing you can do to pose the legs. You can get about, well, let's show you. You can get a range of motion back to there, nice knee joint, and you can go as far forward as there. You can also come in so it's completely straight, of course, or you can come out that far. So that's all the, you know, mobility her legs are giving you, which is pretty pathetic compared to a lot of the other Transformers in the RID line. So yeah, that is Airachnid, and she doesn't really stand very well either, unfortunately, because of her high heels. If this clicked one more forward or something, so it made a better straight line here as it stands, her feet don't really make a straight line, so she has trouble standing, but you can get her in a pose that will work. She's just not very dynamic. So they almost didn't even need to put any joints in the legs because there's nothing you can do. She can, of course, hold her weapons, and they just plug into her hands, and they do a little bit to actually disguise her crappy hands, so that's okay with me, I guess. And yeah, that is Airachnid. I don't recommend her, really. Let's see, though, if there's anything we can do to make her better. Okay, so after a few hours of messing with her, I've got her in something I like. It does compromise the helicopter a tiny little bit, but that's okay. My blades no longer spin, but well, they spin if you spin the actual connector peg. But yeah, that's okay with me, and you can see the silhouette of the helicopter is a little different. Now, first thing, of course, I took out that stupid seat. The next thing I did is I made her a parts former, because that makes a pretty big difference. So you don't really need this piece anymore, but you do need this, which is why I had to glue this together, because you couldn't do anything with these without having the cockpit holding this in position. So now you got this, and frankly to me it looks a lot more like Airachnid without the cockpit piece, because she never had that on the back of her head in the TV show. So transformation for this is of course all the same. Flip out everything like that, how I like that. To her legs, these pieces can just come off. Unfortunately, I wish I could find a way to keep them in, but I can't. Little magnet here just to kind of hold the back of the helicopter on a little bit. If you wanted to, you could keep it on, but it doesn't hold very well. It'll eventually fall off, but it is held with the magnet. Then you take this, just kind of transform her like you would. That's the whole back of the helicopter movement. I drilled a hole here, which is where the old screw hole for the cockpit went. And whoops, forgot to do her little feet here. So now you got this, and the first thing you'll notice is her light piping actually works really well, and I rather like that. Now, because I drilled out the hole properly, I can take this, just plug it right into her back like this, and we can still adjust these however we would like. You can adjust the top one however you'd like to. And you got something like this. And I think that's an overall better looking Airachnid. The arms are still a little bit weak, but you got a lot more posability out of them now because you don't have a helicopter sitting off her head. You can turn her head 360 now without the seat there, so she's quite a bit more posable. And just look how mean she looks without the seat on the back. Like, you can just do so much stuff with her like that. It's really much better. And the final thing I did, I tried to give her legs a little bit more movement. Before it used to be about to there. I was able to make it go a little further, and that was done solely by removing a little bit, and let's see if I can get it to show up, just removing a little bit of the plastic in here just to give her a bit more leg movement. Unfortunately this still gets in the way, but you can't really remove any more or you're going to start removing the part that holds the ball joint in. But it does give her at least a little bit more leg movement. And so with the lack of helicopter stuff, I still wish I could just take this piece off. That would solve a ton of problems, but there's just not enough left. So yeah, this is Airachnid. As a base toy, she's a bit disappointing, but if you're like me and you don't care about messing up a toy, because she will never be how she was again, yeah, she's not bad. So anyway, this is T2RX6. I hope you enjoyed the review as well as my experiment with Airachnid, and I'll see you next week.